Hey everybody, I'm back with yet another video. Excuse me sounding a little bit rough. I've been really sick since last night, so I'm also a little bit more chaotic with making things today. Today we're going to be making these little pocket tags. Now, as you can see, these ones aren't completely finished, but I'm going to show you the different variations that I've been making so far. I tend to make things and not finish them so that I can put them in my stash and grab them and then continue working on them when I need them. This one, I haven't covered the back of this little stud yet, so I was having difficulty getting in. This one is a bit more finished. It's nearer completion because this is actually for something I'm working on. And then this one, which I just made out of quickness the other day because I just liked the paper. So we're going to start again with a new one, and I'm going to show you how to make these. Now, before we get into this, I want you to watch to the end of the video because I'm actually going to be giving things away. So bear in mind, watch the whole video to the very end and I will tell you how. Today we're going to be using book pages. Now, this is to show you can use any size of book pages to make something that is really long, because we're going to pretty much stick the pages together to the desired length. Now, I'm using medium-sized book pages that were already nice and stained because they're actually old ones that were sent to me in a little bundle. So thank you to the person that sent me real vintage book pages. And today, just to switch things up, I'm going to be using some double-sided tape because I'm going to be using this little handy tool that you see in my hand to see if I can work with double-sided tape a little bit easier. This not only is good for cutting your tape like so, but apparently this is good for peeling the tape, which we all know I struggle with, so this is my first time trying it out. We shall see. And yes, it works. So yeah, you're going to stick the very edges of your book pages together. I was just trying to figure out which was the best way to see that I was lining it up, and realised it was probably this way. And you're going to do this to as many book pages as you require to get quite a substantial length. So you want something, well, I suppose it depends on the size of the tag that you want to make. As usual, this is a no measurement project. You can make it whatever length you want to make it. I want to make a medium sized tag, so I'm using 2 book page lengths, and then I'm just going to trim the edges and make one edge very straight. Actually, on this channel that is now a banned word. We're going to use straightish. We're going to make the edge of this page straightish because that is my capabilities when it comes to cutting things straight. So as you can see with my straightish page, and I still somehow managed to make a mess. I don't understand this whole cutting thing, why I can never just get it right. We're going to figure out how thick we want her tag to be, so the width of our tag. I'm just going to fold this in half because it's easier to cut when your paper is really long. So whatever your sheet is, you're going to end up folding it in half anyway. So do that now, and it just makes it easier to cut on your cutting mat if it's not really long. You're going to decide on the width that you're going to make your tag. Totally up to you, whatever tag you want to make, and you're going to cut yourself a nice long strip. I was trying to say which side I wanted as well, whether I was going to cut off that border, and then I decided, nope, let's waste nothing. I'm going to make it this width. So I'm just guesstimating. I'm using my cutting mat as a kind of a guide to get a straightish other side. Yeah, see, I did it there, straightish. And then I'm going to cut off the excess, and you can put that aside and make another tag. We're just going to make one in this video. Now, depending on how durable you want your tag to be, well, first I'm going to show you, we're going to fold this flap. So you're going to pick maybe like 1.5 centimeters-ish, and you're going to fold it down, then fold it the other way. This is the area you're going to be putting your hole. So you want this to be easy to open your tag. So pre-folding it makes it easy to open, and we're going to stick it together. You could use glue here. I'm using the tape. Now that I have discovered I can in fact use a handy dandy tool and use sticky tape without, you know, drama. I may be using it more often in my videos. If you want this little tool, I will find it in my orders and add it to my Amazon link below. But I just want to take a moment to thank, I think it was Victoria Designs, for showing me this tool, and it has saved me so much hassle when it comes to peeling. So you're going to fold that back over, adhering the top so that top cannot be opened now. Nice and secure. It also gives it a little bit of strength if you use some tape. I'm going to put a little hole right in the center, top center. It's going to be where a tag gets threaded. And then we're just going to cut two top angles. So from your fold line where you folded to the top of your tag, you're just going to cut off a little triangle, and then to get it equal, you're just going to take that little cut off, line it up on the other side, and then cut along the same line, and that will give you a perfectly symmetrical tag without measuring, without templates. So there we go. So once we've done that, we're now going to work out how long we want our tag to be. Now you could trim your tag short here, you don't need to double any paper up like I'm about to. You're going to fold up your little pocket, and I'm doubling this little pocket page, so I'm keeping that full length on there, and I'm just folding it in half, so that gives me a nice sturdy pocket. You could just trim off the excess to the height you want your pocket to be. But this is kind of no more waste, I guess. And then the other strip I'm just folding completely in half, so it comes down to cover my pocket. If your page is too long and it is longer for some reason, just trim a bit off and you get what I mean. You can see what I'm doing. I'm just making a slightly shorter front cover to cover our little back pocket. Okay, so once I've got all that done, you're going to adhere the bits that you've doubled up just to give them strength. I'm going to use the double-sided tape. Honestly, this feels like Christmas. It feels like I've discovered a new tool. Well, I have discovered a new tool. I mean, I've discovered a new form of adhesion, which is less messy, less drying time. I mean, I've always had double-sided tape. I just could never peel it, and I just found it a pain. And this tool has changed my life. Technically that's a little bit dramatic, but you know what I mean. When you find a new tool that actually works for you, although I was having problems here and I was starting to doubt the usefulness of this tool, but then it started working again. I was fine. I realized there's a trick to it. If you come with the very pointy corner and you go slightly to the side, that's where the magic happens. So smooth it down nice and firm. See, I'm having problems when I go to the edge. What you need to do is go to the side. That's where it happens. Okay, so I'm folding that over so that becomes one piece of paper. That's why I'm saying you could have just trimmed your strip. You didn't need to double it up. And then I'm going to adhere this bit down and also make that into one little bit of paper. So if you were using a cardstock here, you might not want to double it up because it might make it too thick and too robust. But because I'm using book paper, it's actually a good thing. I'm managing to double up my strips to give it a little bit more durability. So yeah, we're going to peel off this sticky tape. I actually have fun smoothing it down. I don't know why. It just seems to be fun. And as you can see, going in from the side of the sticky tape, wow, makes such a difference. First time getting it off every time. This has saved me, I'm not even joking, about 35 minutes worth of swear words when I normally try and use sticky tape. So once again, thank you, Victoria Designs. Okay, so we've doubled up that. So we've got our cover. And now we're going to curve those little edges. You don't need to do this. It's totally personal preference. If you don't like curved edges, or you could just, you know, take the corners off in a straight line. It's up to you. It's your design. We're going to attempt to straighten-ish the edges, because I'm not very good at folding either, it would appear, and nothing ever lines up. Maybe that's because I never use a ruler for the purpose that's intended. But, you know, it takes the fun out of crafting if you have to be too precise. So I'm going to take my little circle punch, and once again, if you do not have a corner punch, you can use a coin or a bottle, draw around it, and then just use your scissors. You don't need fancy dancy tools. Okay, we've got to this stage. So what is the next step, I hear you say? It depends on how you are going to do your closure. I was going to glue it shut here, and then I remembered I haven't showed you how to do one version of the tag that has the closure. So I probably stopped myself in a second here, because I do remember I was like, nope, haven't showed you. I did actually show you this closure on my travel journal video. That link will be at the end of this video for you to watch. It's got this entire step-by-step process of doing the closure. So first I'm going to ink up all my edges before I actually start getting things put together, because it's the easiest time if you're going to go in and ink things is before you start closing everything up. Once again, I'm in there with the vintage foil, but you'll be happy to know I actually have a new ink coming. Somebody in one of the Facebook groups told me that Distress Ink do a tea dye. Literally, it's called tea dye. So I've ordered that one to see how I'm liking it. I mean, I love my vintage photo for all things grungy, but I'm curious to see if they're a similar colour. Okay, so yeah, now I was going to glue it once again, having a brain fart, and realised I still had not showed you the closure. So I wait for my glue to come down to the nozzle, because we all know that takes like 10 minutes, and I'm just about to glue it when I remember, no, stop, reverse, put that lid back on and get the stud. We never showed you how to do this. It's really simple, it doesn't actually need much of a tutorial, just a little bit of explanation. So when your page is still open, you're going to take yourself a paper punch which has a hole bigger than the size of the stud that you will be using. As you can see, my stud is smaller than this hole, and all you're going to do is put your stud on the little pocket bit before you glue it together. You'll put the stud in, and then on the back of the stud you'll cover over its little metal brackets, and then on the other page you just put hole. So remember to cover over the back of the stud though, because otherwise it makes it hard to slide things in and out your little pocket. And then you just close your hole over and it should slide under and secure it. That is pretty much it. But we are not going to do that with this one, because I only like doing it sometimes. I'm inconsistent as hell. We're doing one like this that doesn't have any closure. Okay, so now, finally, I was teasing my glue, you see. He was getting, hopefully he was going to get used, and then he was getting put away. Now he can get used, but he's being temperamental about it and not giving me much glue, so, you know, don't toy with your glue's emotions, I'm just saying. And I'm going to close up that pocket. Pretty simple, pretty easy. We have our inner pocket. It looks cute, and we're going to, I forgot to ink the inside of my tag here. We're going to finish inking the tag. I just like the grungy look. I know there's a lot of people that don't like this look. They don't like the vintage, grungy, dirty, used. I totally love it. So you just do this in whatever style is your style, whatever that style may be. You don't have to go with my method of decorating things. If you don't like inking your things, don't do it. Okay, so I'm inking all the places, especially creases. If you get all your creases really well, it will genuinely look like this is a very old thing that has been used a lot and gained some age and dirt in all the places the creases are. Okay, we're just going around the back. Now I like the back and the front to look pretty, because in a lot of the things that I make, I don't actually adhere them into journals. I just put them in there for someone who gets the journal to pull out and admire and look at, because that's what I like doing when I get journals. I like to pull everything out and admire them. So I'm doing my little creases. It just all adds to the oldie worldy look, and I'm just making sure everywhere looks nice and grungy and dirty. Kind of like my nails today, because I had been planting plants the other day and I can't get it out. So yeah, on the inside here I'm going to add a little journaling spot. You can do this, you don't have to do this. Sometimes I like to do this even with pockets, because I think, that was me dropping lots of paper, because I think extra journaling spots are cute, like a little place to hide a secret little note to yourself. Okay, so I'm going to use this stripy, no, that's not what it's called lined paper, Leanne, lined. I don't know, sometimes words come out of my mouth as if my brain isn't really on the same, you know, wavelength as my mouth. I don't even know why I say half the things I say. Okay, I'm going to trim it down to the right size. Why was I not using a ruler? Straightish was definitely the word that I was going for with this piece of paper. I just decided to wing it. See, proof you don't even need a ruler. You don't even need to own one. You could just do a me and wing it. Okay, so I've cut out this little piece of paper, and then I'm going back to my corner punch once again. What do you not need? You don't need a corner punch. You just need something curvy, a pencil and a pair of scissors. So we're going to stick that on there. As for this paper I'm using, if you want a tutorial on how I bulk tea stain my papers, because I only do it once in a blue moon and then I have enough stash to last me for absolutely weeks. If you want a tutorial on that, tell me in the comments below. I will make you a tutorial on how I bulk tea stain and bulk dry my papers that I use and also the kind of paper I use. I'm actually running low, so I'll need to do it soon. So if you want that, let me know, and I won't take long to do it because I actually need some. Okay, so we're gonna see how you could have glued it in here before you put your pocket up too. I'm just showing you all the extra places. I'm like having trouble getting in because it's still wet. All the extra places you could have glued some journaling paper, but I'm just doing it on the top flap. And see how fancy I'm being today. I'm jumping between multiple adhesives. Tape, 3-in-1 glue, now Yoo-hoo glue. I think I'm just showing off a wee bit with my multiple adhesives. Can't even say that word. I think it's just laziness though, because it was closer to me and I didn't have to reach very far. Okay, so we're sticking that down and it is nice and in there. And now we're going to work on your little tab. Now, I see these little tab things on places like eBay and Etsy, and I have yet to find one that is the brown paper variety. I'm just going to show you what I'm talking about. These are hole protectors. I've only ever managed to buy them in white. I cannot seem to find them in like craft paper, so I ended up using craft paper tape and making some of my own, but I'm all out, so I'm going to show you how I make it. You can do this on paper, you can do this on tape, or you could do it like I'm doing it on just scrap hand dyed paper. And you need 2 hole punches. Actually you don't, you need 1 at least. You need 1 for doing the center hole. I realised this one is way too big. I need the small ordinary office size paper punch. So you need a paper punch that is smaller, like so. And then you need one that is much bigger that you're going to line up that hole in the middle and cut it out. Now if you don't have 2 paper punches, what you'll do is you'll draw a row of circles using a coin. And then you will line up your small paper punch in your little row of circles, punch all the centres and then cut them all out. That's the easiest way to make them. But if you have 2 punches like me, it takes literally seconds. So there we go. So yeah, remember, roll coins down a piece of paper. Don't cut them out first, do your holes first. It just makes it easier. And then cut all the circles out. I'm going to dab at these with my ink just to grundify them a little bit. And then I'm going to use my handy dandy Yoo-hoo glue stick, which I have decided now I like this glue. The first video I used it was I can't even remember now, a couple of videos ago, and I said it seemed like a very wet glue. Now I've decided that's a good thing and I like it, so you'll probably see me using it a lot more. We're going to put 1 in the front and 1 on the back, and this will strengthen the hole where our little tag threads are going to be, but it also makes it look more authentic, like it is a proper vintage tag, because they always had these on them. Okay, so we've done that little part. Now it's time to decorate. Normally this is where I would stop and say, here, that's how you make a pocket tag, go and decorate it any way you want. But you appreciated me decorating my B folder, so I'm going to decorate this too. And I'm going to use the packaging from one of the recent journaling packs that I bought. This has got really cute mushrooms on the front, so technically this whole thing is book pages and junk. I'm going to cut out this image. I'm going to just leave myself a little border around the image. I don't even need to cut it out properly. I was trying to say to leave or cut that bit off. I don't even know what it was. And that is the easiest way to fussy cut something, is to leave yourself a little sort of border all the way around it. There we go. It takes just seconds. So there's one for the front, and I like the other mushrooms too, so I think I'm going to use this one for another part of it. Now a little trick when you're making something, if you want it to look like a finished design, is to pick things all in the same color theme, all in the same theme, or all tonally similar, so that when you bring them all together, so like for example here, me cutting all these images from one piece of packaging means that everything on this little tag is going to match and be cohesive, so when it's all put on it's going to look much more polished. That's just a little tip. If you're going to make something, try and pick like a theme of things that go together, similar colors, similar artwork style, and it will just give it a more polished look at the end. Okay, I'm just cutting all these out. And after I've taken all the images, have a look at, if you're cutting up packaging like me, what is left of the packaging that you could also use to tie in that theme. In this case, this strip here, I'm going to use this to tie in that dark red that's behind all the mushrooms. Okay, So once I've got everything there, I just go and figure out how I'm going to use these. So I'm obviously going to put one on the front just because it's cute. I go for the red one because I love red toadstools. I know they have a scientific name, I just can't think what it is. I think I'm going to put the other one on the inside. I was trying to toy with it, wondering if I should just put that in as like an extra journaling thing, but I do end up using it. And I was trying to figure out where I was going to use these. Now this is the beauty of this thing when it comes to decorating. It's just playing around with what you've got, moving stuff around, seeing what fits. And then of course my little trick that I told you before is to use one ink and use it on every single piece that you use in your project, and it will tie everything in together. It's not really obvious on camera, but it did actually make a slight difference to this little strip of paper. And I'm going to glue this on right at the fold line. Now this is something I like to do with inner pockets, is to give them some kind of separation between the back and the pocket. It just makes it easier to see, and it also adds a little bit of durability to where you'll be pushing little papers in and out of your little pocket. I'm going to trim it off. We measure nothing here. We glue, then we trim. This is the no measure channel. I'm going to keep the other little strip because there's enough to do it somewhere else. Add a little bit of ink to cover those cut edges. And I was still trying to figure out where I want to put these toadstools. Are they even? No, these ones are just mushrooms. Although technically there are toadstools on that picture. And I think that's the best place for that one. And because this is also cardstock, it actually is adding a little bit more strength to my overall tag. If you can hear a strange noise in the background, it is my washing machine. I'm hoping my mic isn't picking it up, but that's what that is. My glue decided to dry up. It was being fast on the draw today. Normally it takes a lot longer for it to get clogged, but today it was like, nope, you teased, you toyed with my emotions, you made me think I was getting used, and then you used other glue, so I'm just going to not play with you today. So yeah, we're going to glue that on with the 3-in-1 glue. And I like the 3-in-1 glue for things that are a bit thicker, like card, but I like the Yoo-Hoo glue for papers, even though it has a tendency to let them wrinkle a little bit. Okay, so you're getting it adhered in there. Now another little tip, sometimes I like to ink after things are glued in because it adds a little bit of dirtiness around the image. That looks somehow like it settles it into the page more. I can't explain what I mean, but when you go around it when it's already glued down, it adds extra depth that makes it look less stuck on top and somehow more in there. And I've done it to the strip too. It like settles the image in for you. I'm going to glue this other strip up here because I like cohesion, where you use the same colours, the same papers in multiple places in a project, and then it ties it all in together. Back to the Yoo-Hoo glue, even though I'm using card. I was so inconsistent with my glue choices today. I was just like, yeah, whatever's closest. Sometimes that's how we craft. And then we trim it off like so. So as you can see, even adding just that one little strip of one colour paper has brought so much extra to this design. So never overlook the little scraps of coloured paper on your desk. Okay, we're once again inking over the top of it to settle it into the background by giving it some depth, and it looks cute already. Okay, so this toadstool's going on the front, so let's play the glue lottery. Which glue shall I pick up? No, none. I decided I was going to add some of the interior book paper, the note paper, to the front. So I'm doing a little bit layering here just to bring some of that internal paper outside. Sometimes using paper more than once in your creation also brings a little bit of cohesion, even if it's something as basic and simple as lined paper. So I've gone for the Yoo-Hoo glue, as you can see. I don't know what the durability of this glue is. I've not had any projects like very long with this glue, so I'm hoping it's got like a long life and isn't like some glues that start peeling off after a few months. We shall see. Okay, you could have just folded this over to the inside if you were glue happy like me, but I'm just going to trim it off. And if you are a bit glue happy, what I have learned is if you put that to one side, it will dry and you can just use that bit of paper like once the glue dries anyway. So you don't need to chuck away paper if you've been a little bit excessive with the glue. And I'm going to, oops, I realised a bit was not glued down. I'd managed to miss a bit, so I'm just going in and fixing that. And then once I've glued that down, I'm going to go back with my ink and just settle that piece of paper into my background by inking over the edges and just making it look a little bit grungy. Are you a fan of the grungy look, the vintage, old, sort of dirty look, or are you somebody that prefers clean? Now, as you can see, it actually caught some of the glue there, and I actually don't mind that. It just adds to the style that I like. And this one, I'm also going to ink the front before I glue it on, because I just don't want to put too much excessive ink on the little note paper I've just added. Because I've already inked it up, I don't want to add more, so I'm just going to glue that. And once again, a different glue. This one was fighting with me today. I think I was a little bit jealous that it was not my go-to glue for every instance. So, you know, it was like giving me a row. And I'm going to drop it down there, because karma. And then I'm going to glue it to the front. I mean, look how nice that looks, just adding that little bit of paper. It's add a little bit of dimension. And I'm still going to go in there with my ink, but I'm just not going to go as heavy-handedly as I would over the note paper. Okay, so now we are going to go to the adding stamps. I couldn't think of what they were called there. I had an actual moment of not thinking what the word was. I'm going to go to my handy dandy tried and tested little circle stamp that is in my Amazon links below. I used it on my, I think I used it on my B file, and my go-to wavy lines from my postage stamps. They are just pretty much go in every project. That's kind of a trademark for me, is to have some kind of postage stamping of some kind in a project. It just ties everything together that I make. And I'm also going to go and get my must use in most, oh, I forgot about this bit. I just saw it sitting there and realised I hadn't put it on. So I'm going to put it on the back, because I've not given the back any love. So first I'm going to ink it up a little bit. And then I'm going to glue it to the back. I'm sorry if I sound a little bit lackluster today. Like I said, I've been sick since yesterday with like a stomach bug. So I did spend a lot of time in bed last night, and today I made this video, but my hands, you can see I'm all over the place. I'm kind of chaotic because I'm not really with it. But you know, when you're feeling sick and it's bad weather outside, it's nothing better than sitting doing just a quiet project if you're able to sit at a desk. So I've inked that in place, and now we are going to add our string. Or no, we're not. We're going to remember to add the stamp that we were going to do before we noticed we'd left that bit card. So there it is. There is my go-to spelled T stamp that you've seen probably about 20 times already. I just like to put it everywhere. It's just one of those things. It's like another trademark stamp for things that I make. I just love it so much. Okay, so I think I've done with the stamping and the decorating. Now we're going to add our string. Now, as you can see here, I'll use anything for string. We have ribbon, we have wool. I have used like string for packages before. I tend to just use whatever I think goes, or whatever, actually it's a lie. I tend to use whatever is nearby, because that is exactly why I picked this up. This was staring me in the face. I was like, oh, that might look nice with the colour scheme. So yeah, I cut a little bit off. I'm actually a knitting pattern designer, so if you knit, then please have a nosy at my Etsy shop. I design knitting patterns for toys, many toys. I have lots of projects on my Etsy, so go and have a look if you are a knitter, and yeah, pick up some projects from my Etsy. So we just folded that in half. We've pushed it through and then looped its ends through itself, and I'm going to melt the ends because chenille wool has a tendency to fray. As you can see, the little bits all over my desk, but if you take a lighter to the ends, it doesn't do that. So there's another little tip for you. And now for the inside of this one, I think I'm going to go simple. I apologise for the noise. It's been in the background. My washing machine was reaching a spin. Okay, so I did think about using this moon ritual paper, but you know, it doesn't really go with the vibe. So instead I went and found some just plain parchment paper that I've tea stained, And I think for this little tag, this paper doesn't need anything done to it. I'm going to fold it up nice and small so that it can fit in this space, and that is just going to be another place to journal. Pull that out, write yourself a letter. There we go. Now you could stop here. That could be the end of it. If you wanted one that like this one, it was just a fold open and without a closure. But I think for this one I might actually make some kind of closure. I think I'm going to make a belly band, just a really simple belly band. I'm going to show you, instead of a stud you could do a closure like this. So for a belly band, you're going to take your strip of paper that you made your original tag with. You're going to fold it around loosely. You're going to give it like a little bit of wiggle room. You don't want this tight. You want it a loose enough fit that you can wiggle it off and on, but obviously tight enough that it isn't just going to like slide off. And then you're going to cut yourself a nice strip. Now this can be as narrow or as wide as you want. It's your preference. You're making it for your tag after all. And I'm going to cut a straightish, straightish line, because there's no way that is straight. I know this, I can see that it's not. And we're going to ink it up just like we did with our tag. And I don't think this needs much decoration, but you could go crazy decorating with the belly bands. I've seen some really pretty belly bands on projects where that belly band in itself is like a piece of art, and it's just really like nicely done. I prefer things to be a bit more simple, and for the main attraction to be the tag itself. You got to, excuse me, I just got the hiccups. You're going to fold it around loosely, and you're just going to adhere the belly band to itself. My glue came out in a big splodge there. It's definitely not happy with me. Just don't be tight when you put the belly band on. Keep it loose. You want it to be able to move up and down freely so you can get it off. I was just trying to decide where it was going to sit. And there we go. I mean, you could decorate your belly band. I think I'd do just take the residue ink that's on the stamps and just grunge it up a little bit. You can't really see it on camera, but it did leave a little bit of an impression. And then went in with my very light hand doing my little coffee stain, tea stain or whatever it's called, just to grunge it up a little bit. And there we go, there is the belly band. So there we have, I'll show you that it comes off really easy. You can open your tag and then it slides back on. If you've left it loose enough, you should be able to get it on easy. If not, you need to make it looser. It should be easy to get back on. And there we go. So let's get to the how you can win something. Okay, I decided that once a week when I'm doing videos, I'm going to give you the opportunity to be posted the item that I have made. In this case, you will be posted my little toadstool tag that I just created. So if you want to be in with a chance, I'm going to leave a link below to my mailing list. I think it's the only way I could really think to collect names in a sort of simple way. You just have to sign up to the mailing list, and I will pick a name randomly from my mailing list once a week, and whoever wins, I will message you to get your postal address. But if you would prefer for it to be a complete surprise and you don't want me to ask for your postal address in the mail sign up, I think there is a part you can add a message. Just put your address in there. If I have your address in front of me, I won't message you, I will just post it out and it'll be like surprise mail. So watch for the videos where I say we're going to do surprise mail at the end.